All right, so kind of like that other one that we saw, where we could just look at the equations, look at your answer choices. I mean, it's a multiple choice test, so use your answer choices to your advantage. It says blah, 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 blah. Just looking at the answers, I have NC equals 72, NC equals 9, N over C equals 72, and N over C equals 9. So these are all different equations. I don't even need to know what the second number is talking about. It makes no difference. Because once I figure out which one works for N and C, that's my answer. N times C is 72, 3 times 24 is 72, 6 times 12 is 72, 9 times 8 is 72, 16 times 4.5 is 72. Hey-ho! There's our answer. It does not work for this. N times C is not 9, N divided by C is not 72, and divided by C is not 9. None of those other work. So I don't even need to know what that second number is asking for. I mean, you could if you read the problem, but it's not necessary. It's a multiple choice test. Use it to your advantage. Here we have to do a little bit more work to actually find the equation. Suppose that y varies directly with x, so that means y equals kx. So that's just our direct variation without divided by z right there. And inversely with z, so there's where I divide by the z. Inverse is division, direct is multiplication. Then it gives me all of the variable numbers, so I put in the variable numbers, multiply by 7, divide by 14, k equals 6. So what that tells me is that this k is 6, so y equals 6x over z. That is that equation. All of the rest look different, so I know it has to be that. All right, with 78, blah, 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 I come up with, so we have n varies directly with a and inversely with p. So n varies directly with a and inversely with p. So I have this equation. Then they give us a bunch of numbers. $8,000, $46,000 was spent on advertising, and the price of the doll was $25. So I plugged in all those numbers. I came out with k as this value. So now I have the equation where I know k is 4.348. Then it says determine the number of dolls sold when the amount was spent on 58,000. So 4.348 times 58,000 divided by the price of the dolls. Type that in your calculator, you come out with that number. Happy day. 2 over x. Definitely not that. Definitely not that. Whoa, that's not even close. Yeah, 2 over x. Type it in your calculator. Check. This one, so if you want vertical asymptote, x has to be -2. It's the zeros of our denominator. Our horizontal moved down 2, so it's at y equals -2. This is the only one that makes sense. Again, you can just type this stuff in your calculator. Go to your y equals, look at your graph. I sneezed. Excuse you. Oh, thank you. Person that's... Dude, I could like replay that sneeze over and over again. That would be so much fun. All right, we have -4 over x. That has the asymptotes of x equals -2. So that is the 0 of our denominator, so x plus 2 on the denominator. And then it has a y at -5, so it has moved down 5, so I have it -5. Yeah, 82. So same thing. Type it in your calculator, see what it looks like. It looks like D. Yeah. Here, these are the stuff that we were having trouble on that last test with. Go ahead and factor numerator and denominator. Once you factor both of them, you see that there is a common factor that we can divide out, and we are just left with what we are left with. Same idea on 84. I went ahead and multiplied those together. Simplified 72 over 40. A to the 6th and a to the 5th just leaves us with 1a on top. And b to the 3rd over b to the 6th leaves us with 3 b's in our denominator. Almost done. Last page. Last page! All right, sorry. Here, factor, see what divides out. A b and a b go away with that squared. B plus 3 over b plus 3, b minus 6 over b minus 6. So I'm just left with b in the end. Same thing here. Don't forget division turns into multiplication when you flip the second fraction and multiply. 87 is the same as before. Factor our denominator and see what divides out. And we are left with that ugly thing. Least common multiple. It's essentially what is the smallest number that we can get if we have these two things. This has x minus 6 and x minus 1. This has x plus 4 and x minus 1. So this one on the left is missing the x plus 4. This one is missing the x minus 6. So if I multiply either this by x plus 4 or x minus 6, it will get them to be the same. That is what this is asking for. And the same thing would be x minus 6 times x minus 1 times x plus 4. All right, 89. I need common denominators in order to add these things. So this, when I factored it, it was k minus 6 over and k plus 6. So this was just k plus 6, so I need a k minus 6 over k minus 6 here. So I multiply here, add these together because they'll be over the same denominator. And on this one, I kind of messed up a little bit, but I'll show you what I did. I got the common denominator like we did in the last one, so it came out to this ugly thing. So then I got to this ugly thing, then I factored the top ugly thing, and then I got to this. Essentially what happened. On the next one, I kind of realized that this was a little bit easier. So sometimes this will happen to you too. I factored what I could factor in the beginning. X plus 8 divided by x plus 8 goes away. Now I'm just left with x plus 7 in my denominator over here, same as denominator over here. So I have x plus 3 minus 9 over the same denominator, which is a lot easier problem. So if I would have done this first one like this, it would have saved us so much time. All right, 92. When we have the cube roots, as long as it's the same root, we can just divide those numbers. So 162 divided by 2 is 81. The smallest cube I can pull out of 81 is 27 times 3. Cube root of 27 is 3. And I have a 3 stuck on the inside, so that's why my answer is C. This one, I distribute this to the exponent, so I have 27 to the negative 2/3, which is 1 over 9. If I do negative 3 times negative 2/3, negative 3 times negative 2/3, the negatives divide out, so do the 3, so I'm just left with a to the second, so I have 1/9 a to the second. That doesn't make sense because the a is in the denominator. That doesn't make sense because it's not 1/9. So if I multiply these things together, I have a squared over 9, which is b. All right, hopefully this was helpful. Please, please, please don't forget, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to answer questions, not just like, I don't expect you to learn everything from this. So please check this out first, but come ask me questions. That's what I'm here for. All right, love you guys. Bye.